G'day, g'day. Let us know when we are up and running. I'm hoping it is all set and ready to go. It is always impossible to tell straight away though. How is everyone? Thanks for tuning in. It's been a while since we've done one of these live streams. Luke and Alana say hey or hi. DJ Yams, Sammy G, welcome. Alright, got a little notification about my resolution, but I'll try and work that out in the background. A little bit slow to start up. Looks like it is going. Frantic Reg says hello. Can everyone see me alright? It's all going alright? Yeah, I think it's all sweet. 35 on, is that right? Awesome. Daniel Winterbottom is here. Welcome, Daniel. Morris, hello, welcome. Wow, a lot of people joining in. Thank you, guys. Good to have you today. Good, thanks, Sammy G. How are you? My resident mod. Oh, Dave's here. Welcome. Wow, a lot of people tuning in. 56. Thank you, guys. It's good to have you. Who's pumped for the draft? I'm very pumped. This used to be my second favourite day of the year behind the grand final. This year, obviously, not a lot of Eagles. Tonight, the Eagles won't feature at all, barring some sort of crazy trade. That's obviously not going to happen. So they're probably not going to feature, but that's all right. I guess that's the price you pay for having a good season and then trading your picks for a great player. Stiff Biscuit says, hey, Dad. Hello, son. It's good to have you. Backer Bear says, how do you think Collingwood will do this year? I think they'll be thereabouts again. I think they're in the top 4 in terms of quality. Wait to see how the dust settles and how preseason goes and everything, but I think they underachieved this year. I think they're definitely good enough to go around again in terms of being probably in the top 4 teams. Jordan Johnston says, who are we going to pick up with the little Eagles symbol? Welcome, Jordan. G'day, mate. Hope you're going well. I don't know, to be honest. It's so hard. It's not really worth even getting my hopes up at pick 46 because I remember the last time we had to pick this late was 2012. We picked Adam Carter, Mark Hutchings, and Brandon College, and I'd heard of Hutchings, but I'd only really researched Carter. So I just think at that range, you're likely to just get a random player. But there's a lot of WA prospects around that range I like. So Ben Johnson is one. And you always hold out for a slider like Dylan Williams, but I don't really know what to expect in that respect. Kill Bluff says, hey dude, just found your channel. Thanks, mate. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. Matt Rao for pick 1. I agree with you. AFL Collingwood footy fan. Footy's back, says Jason. You're right, but for me, this is the last day of the football, second last day of the football season. This is just about the end. For me, I've kind of been in denial about the end of the footy season. I'm like, no, we've still got trade period, we've still got the draft, but here we sit, second last day of the season, basically for me, and then we got about 8 weeks to think about it. Where will Freo finish? Lots of predictions-based questions. I'm going to have to do a predictions video soon, probably after the draft. I don't think Freo will get worse, despite losing 2 really important outside players. I actually think they could surprise a few. I think they're easily written off. I think if they can pick up some players in this draft who could be best 22 straight away, so they get Young, they get Stevens, and they get Henry. All of those guys I can see playing footy in season 1. They're probably best case scenario. They probably have a similar impact to how the Port boys went, this year for Port. I could see that being a huge plus for Freo. So to answer your question, I could see them being around 10th, which is an improvement. How do I think the Dogs will go this year? I think they will go about the same as they did this year. I don't know. I just think there's so much quality at the top. It's always so hard to say. There's always bolters and sliders in terms of the ladder every year. The Dogs have so much quality, so I think they'll play finals again. But whether I see them as strong as Richmond, West Coast, Collingwood, GWS, or even Geelong, probably I could see them maybe taking over Geelong. Maybe it's so hard to predict. But Geelong's a very strong side. There's no real reason they should dip off, even though they lost Kelly. Do I think Freo gets Liam? I certainly think Liam Henry will go to Freo. I can't imagine a team in, say, the top 6 taking Henry, or bidding on him, rather. And that's probably what it would take for Fremantle to reject it. But assuming it comes after pick 8, which I suspect it will, I can't imagine why Fremantle wouldn't match the bid. Liam says, where do I watch the draft? I believe you can just go onto the AFL website and stream it, mate. I'm watching it on KO, so if you have that, you can watch it there as well. But yeah, if you just go to the AFL website, you can watch it live, I'm pretty sure. But that's the beauty. You can watch this and the draft. That's what I'm doing. I'm watching the draft at the moment and talking to you boys. And girls, rather. Wow, there is a lot of people tuning in. Thank you so much, guys. It's been real. Trying to scroll up to the questions. Do I think Melbourne will bounce back? We were talking about this today in the group chat. I don't think they will bounce back straight away. I think there's definitely no doubt that their concerns this year were like injury-based and particularly in the preseason, having like 16 best 22 players have like serious operations. You'd have to think that there's some upside there, and that obviously took this thing out of them. But having said that, they're not historically a mentally strong side. I'm not convinced they will come back in the same way that I would be convinced that Geelong would come back or something like that. That being said, there's still so much talent, so I don't think they're going to be cellar dwellers for a while. I think they'll miss the 8 this year, if I had to guess. Jack Besnard says, penis, well said. A fine contribution. Hope the young Will Gould goes high, legend player. Yeah, I think he's a good player too. It sounds like he might slide a little bit. When I say slide, maybe into the 20s, potentially 30s. That would be a real steal. But I think he'll be a good player at the next level. He's a huge boy. How do you think Carlton will go? I think you mean next season. I don't think I think they'll finish bottom 6. I'm sorry if you're a Carlton fan. How long till it starts? You got dinner soon, says Lionel Scott Show. I think the actual count starts in about 23 minutes. Luke Jackson's a bolter. Yeah, you could say that. Kind of. I think everyone's known he's been going to be picked 3 for the last, week or 2, if that. But before that, he was considered, Fremantle at pick 10 for a chance to take him when they had pick 10. But who knows? No, I think he'll go pick 3. Riley says, evening, how are you? Good, thank you, Riley. How are you? Actually, I'm a little sick today. I just did a 10-hour day at work. I was going to call in sick, but I thought, if I call it... Well, not call in sick. I was going to finish early, but I thought, if I tell my bosses I'm sick and then they know about my YouTube channel, they'll come and see the live stream and see me doing this. They'll probably think, are you really sick? So I toughed it out. If Trent Rivers isn't picked tonight, then he's a steal, says Michael Stanton. You're a big fan, are you? It doesn't say, I don't think... Well, I guess he could get picked tonight. Most people have him around the 20s. When's the last actual pick tonight? I think it's like pick 22 or something. Let me have a look. I think... Oh no, it might be pick 20 Gold Coast. I could see him not getting picked tonight, but I get your point there. I think he's a steal. Fremantle, I think they'll take Hayden Young. I think he'll be on the board. Stiff biscuits. Dylan Steve. Oh no, hang on. There's talk. I don't know if everyone's seen this, but there's talk that Adelaide and Carlton might be doing a bit of a stanky deal, where Carlton moves up to Adelaide's pick 6, and Adelaide goes to 9 because they want McCasey, and Carlton takes Young with pick 6, so that would throw that out. And Fox Footy, Matt Barmer was just running with that. So that sounds like that could actually happen. So if that's the case, Carlton has pick 6, takes Young. That means Stevens and Sarong are my Freo tips. Personally think that Sarong is underrated. I agree with that, mainly due to size. I think he could be great value to a lot of teams in the top 10. I agree with that. As soon as I saw Sarong play, I thought he was really, really good. But this draft, it seems like a lot of the players... like a lot of the draftees is very subjective after the top 2. So how one club rates a player or what they need vastly impacts what they'll do with the picks. For instance, what I mean by that is like Sydney are probably looking for midfielders. Not all the teams are looking for like a key back in that top 10. That's why Adelaide's keen to shift down. Sarong is kind of like a forward mid, but maybe some people prefer Flanders to him. Flanders is another interesting one. I'm not convinced Sydney take him at 5. I think there's a chance Sydney take Stevens today. I kind of just talked myself in a circle. I forgot what the original question was, to be honest with you. I agree that Sarong's good, but it sounds like he will slide potentially out of the top 10 today. Raul has those Mila Kunis bug eyes. He's a strange looking unit, I'm not going to lie. He seems like a nice kid, but when do you reckon Green gets matched by GWS? That's interesting. Was it Toomey suggesting it could be as late as Fremantle, which is very late. So Sydney have come out and said they won't match. I can't see why Adelaide won't bid, rather. Sydney won't bid. GWS will match. Jason reckons it's an underrated draft with a lot of good players outside the top 10. Yeah. Fair call. It's always hard to tell. I don't personally get that intrigued by anyone out past 30, which is not great for an Eagles fan with pick 46. Whatever Gill's saying right now, I can't hear any of it. I've turned it down. Fremantle are into Sarong, I heard, says David Harrison. I did read that recently. Somebody said that, I think. Top 3, it's kooky, will be Raul, Anderson, and Luke Jackson, surely. Backyard Charizard says, I've got no time to create content, but plenty of time to watch quality content. G'day, legend. Thank you, Backyard Charizard. Welcome. Yeah, I thought, have you gone quiet lately? I'm not even seeing you on Instagram lately, but I wasn't sure if that was just like the algorithm of Instagram looking like not putting you in my feed or whatever. I was wondering what you've been up to. Good to hear from you anyway. Noah Anderson for pick 2, I agree with that. Who do you think will sneak into the top 8? Ooh. Who do I think will do? I actually don't think Fremantle's the worst shout, only because they're just probably the biggest surprise team that I can think of. I think Hawthorn will come back in, so they finished. Oh no, they finished 9th. I think they'll move back in. Did they finish 9th? Somebody will correct me for that. I think they did. Who will the Dogs pick up? So I would have thought they were onto a key back, so that was Mackesy, but I don't think they can move into the up to take him. I don't think that's going to happen now. So I think they're going to look at Waitman. They've interviewed him, he toured their facilities or something like that quite late this week. So I think they will be looking for a small forward. He's probably one of the best small forward available. There's Pickett and Henry as well. Waitman's very talented. They're all probably on a par in terms of talent, to be honest with you. The other one I saw the link to is Trent Bianco in terms of being interested in him. But I don't know if they'll pull the trigger on him. I think they'd prefer Waitman. I prefer Waitman, but that's just my opinion. Kirk Eddie says, dude, wipe the food off your face. I don't have food on my face. Do I? It's probably just my little pedo moustache. Let me see. Oh, I think you're messing with me. I think you're fucking with me. That was a good one. Because you got me to look. Where are we? Sweet. Backyard says, just super busy, but keen to see how Luke Jackson speaks after we grab him at 3. Yeah, fair enough. How do you feel about another ruckman on the list? Backyard. Alright, I'm just trying to catch up. Devon Robinson to Sydney at pick 5, Jack reckons. I don't mind it. I think in my phantom I had Sydney picking him up, but that was a few days ago, and now that's obsolete. Okay, pick 1 is in. Gold Coast are here. Oh, can you imagine if they didn't pick Rao? So Rao is in. Yeah, we have officially started probably the worst kept secret in the world that riles up. Man, I'm worried about that flaming red hair and clashing against that Gold Coast jumper. You can just see this guy being like a real gun one day, can't you? He just looks like a real quietly spoken like gun. A bit like Sam Walsh, really. Oh, they got Rankin and Lukosius up on there. Look at Rankin's little glasses. He looks like such a nerd. Yeah, that is a clash. So Gold Coast are really picking up a lot. That like they got a real good young nucleus of talent now. Probably the best like compilation of talent, if that's a weird way to say it, that they've had since they started. When they took that, those Swallow, Bennell, Day, Caddy, Prestia. We all thought they were guns at the time, but in terms of like just on paper at the moment, Lukosius, Rankin, King, Rowell, and Anderson, they're probably going to add to that with some picks in the teens as well. They might even trade up with 15 and 20. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is the talent on their list is actually starting to build up. So they just need to keep it this time around. Do I think Jackson Pryor gets picked up in this draft? I honestly don't know. I could see him going in the rookie draft. But it's very, very hard to get a feel for who's likely to go late and who's likely to miss out, if that makes sense. There's always surprises. There's always some good player that you think is going to go in the first 2 rounds that doesn't get drafted as well. That happens almost every year. Ruckman is a huge need for us, says Backyard. I presume you mean outside the 22, like as depth or like future. Because that makes sense. I don't think, you don't have many young ruck prospects, do you? I think it's just Bruce, who's younger than I thought, admittedly. Where's Bush? Bush he flew to Bali. He dogged me today. Unfortunately, this fell on the day he flew to Bali, so I decided to do it by myself. Where will Brody Kemp go, says Luke. Welcome, Luke. This is a very hard one for me to peg. I think his range is anywhere from like Hawthorn at 12 or whatever pick they have. And then all the way down to about pick 18 or whatever it is, Gold Coast. The late teens I've seen, I think it's Toomey's late male draft or Fox Footy or one of them had him going in the late teens. He's a tricky one. It's always, because he's just like athletically, he's a beast. 193 centimetre inside mid. There's so much upside there, but obviously the ACL injury is what makes people nervous, and I understand that. There's a lot more like safe bets in that first 15 or so picks that you could pick. Devin Robinson's another interesting one for me who could slide. I don't think he'll get past Geelong at what is currently pick 14 or whatever. But Kemp is another option for Geelong there, because I think Geelong just kind of they just want talent across the board, just best available. They want a good mix, and I think a midfielder would be good for them. Nightmare thinks Gold Coast might get Kemp too. Oh, I didn't even look. I didn't even have time to look at Nightmare's Phantom Draft today. First pick down, refresh. Yeah, I can't actually refresh it, unfortunately. It's just the browser. It always lags behind a few minutes, so it'll take a while. But it should update automatically. Gamer Donkey says he disliked. That's savage. I wonder if he clicked on here thinking it was the actual draft he could stream. The amount of people who click onto a stream and think it's like a live stream of the actual game. As you can see, Anderson has now been officially locked in as a Gold Coast Sun, and he looks pretty happy with that. Oh my God, his brother has the same gross hair. The Riley Beveridge haircut at the moment. It's like a real Melbourne thing, that one. Tom Green at 4th. No, I don't think he'll go. Oh, GWS have pick 4, so they won't bid on their own academy player. Jason says, your friend had Kemp at number 1. Yeah, he did have a real man crush on young Brody Kemp. Which is a big call. I don't know if I'd go that far, but you can't argue with the upside and the total talent. The total talent? Yeah, just the potential talent, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So two really good inside mids for Gold Coast, and they're quite different players to each other as well. And I think it is really, really positive for them that they're friends for the retention, but also I guess culture and stuff like that. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass there, but I just think it's a really good result for them. DD Trick Shots wants a shout out. Shout out. Oh, Jack Besnard, he nearly got me. Who do you think the Bombers will get? Yeah, they do. They're obviously not featuring tonight, Aussie Realms, but I think they'll just go best available midfielder, and I think they've been sort of looked at as wanting a key forward. Harrison Jones is a hard player for me to peg in this draft, because I've seen some where he's going in the teens, but others where he's a potential like 30s pick. So, I mean, if he's still on the board, I would expect them to have a look at him. I don't know if he's still going to be on the board. Otherwise, it's going to be best available midfielder like maybe a Schoenberg or something like that. But I don't know. Essendon fans are probably more in touch with exactly what they need. I think it's more like a big inside mid they want, which is not Schoenberg. Where do you think Hayden Young gets picked? Yes, that was from another game, and Stefan has written pretty much the good response. Carlton looking to swap picks with Adelaide so they can get Hayden Young. So I tend to believe the late mail on draft night, and I'm expecting Carlton will get that trade done with Adelaide, and they'll get pick 6 and take Young, which is a bit of a blow for Fremantle because I'm sure they would love to have Young. Did Noah's dad play for Hawthorn? Yes, Jason. I believe he also played for St Kilda. He played like 90 games for both and was just under qualifying as a father-son for either of them, but didn't quite play enough games. Thanks, DD Trick Shots. Toby. G'day, Toby. Welcome. Good to have you on board. Interesting prospect here with Brady Gray playing for West Coast Waffle. Will the Eagles pick him up with either the draft or rookie? I don't think so. I honestly think I think he's had his day, to be honest, Brady Gray. He's a great Waffle player, but I think he plays a really important role for the Eagles reserves. I don't think they've seen enough. I think there's probably seen more upside than someone like Brayshaw and Archie. And Jackson is officially a demon. There we go. Not a huge surprise, but there was still a little bit of doubt over that one. So that's huge. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I am actually... the one thing I'm excited about for the Eagles is potentially looking at Jared Pickett, who obviously languished at Carlton and GWS for 5 years, but I just really back the Eagles in their system and their development, that they could turn him into a gun. I'm more excited about potentially signing Pickett as a supplemental player or whatever it is than I am with taking any of our draft picks. And I would take Robertson and I would take Pickett, and I would hopefully keep Archie and Brayshaw as rookies. And then at 46, probably just take best available. Ideally a midfielder, but yeah, you never know. I don't think our talent outside the 22 in the midfield is sufficient yet. Hope he isn't a Billy Longo. Yeah, I don't know. He seems a lot more talented, but, you know, that's a bit of a cliche, that one. Could potentially be. Hey, Roger, welcome. Jared Pickett is an SPP, though. Yes, you're right. I'm going to sit down here, hopefully. Oh, my back is killing me. I had a 10-hour day. Yeah, you're right. I didn't mean to suggest he would be a draft pick. I just meant generally as in terms of recruits, how as far as they go. Pickett would excite me more than taking pick 46. I'm not saying take him instead of pick 46 or anything like that. Jack is asking, similarities between Ash and Whitfield. Yes. Well, Ash loves Whitfield and wants to play like him, so I can see how you made that comparison. But I see it. Whitfield's obviously to a really high standard, so Ash probably needs to add a few things to his game. Maybe the endurance thing. I can't remember off the top of my head how the actual endurance of Ash. But he's so damaging. I think he's a worthy pick 4. If GWS are on the clock now, I suspect that's who they will go for, to be honest. Where am I up to? I just saw a question. Oh, there we go. Another gamer says, where do you think Cody Waitman gets picked? At the moment, I'd probably loosely say the Bulldogs. I don't really think anyone else around before that needs a small forward in the same way. Maybe Melbourne, but they've been linked to that because I'm a Pickett guy. And everyone's really latched onto that, including myself. I had it in my phantom, but everyone's going with it. So I'm inclined to think that's where he'll go. I just realised I was thinking of the Carlton Adelaide deal and Young. So Young getting taken by Carlton, hypothetically at pick 6, means that Carlton were the most likely team to bid on Henry. So that means a bid for Henry could come quite later. So that actually works out for Freo. Even though they miss out on Young, it means, they don't have to use as many points to match Henry. I don't know if that's actually going to... I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm probably talking shit. It's been a long day. Who's going 4th? I reckon it's Ash. It hasn't popped up on my screen yet, but the pick is in. He's on the board. I mean, Gill's on the... No, I am tired. Holy shit. Yep, Ash is now a Giant. No surprises there. Great pick as well. Just a really damaging player. Love watching him play. One of my favourites to watch in the draft, actually. Along with Dylan Stevens. Who do we think the Hawks will get at pick 11? I've seen them linked to Kemp. But I think that's just because Michael from the Discord likes Kemp. But Devon Robertson, I reckon, is another sneaky chance. I don't think Stevens will be available. I don't think McCasey will be available. Yeah, they're a bit of a mystery pick. I'm looking forward to their pick, actually. I feel like it's a real endorsement if you get taken by Hawthorn in the first round. It's like anyone can be a first rounder, but if Hawthorn rates you as a first rounder, you're probably pretty good. He says, thoughts on Devon Robertson and where we get picked? I can see why he's divisive. So some club, it seems like some recruiters are all over him, and other recruiters aren't super, enchanted by him. I think it's just the uninspiring ball use, but at the end of the day, he was a Lark medalist. He's proven to be a very good on-baller. I could see him playing at a really high level at AFL level. He's just like a safe vanilla bet, probably like a real B+ type. That's just the way I see it anyway. I could have that wrong. He could go as early as Sydney here, which I don't really think. I've seen him as late as pick 18 with Gold Coast, so interesting. Dogs have Young's older brother. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Is it Lewis Young? Was he only last year? It was a rookie pick. I can't remember if it was last year or not, but it seems like he was a bit of a late bloomer. Ash is a good replacement for Heater Shaw when he retires. Yeah, not a bad shout, that one. Pick 5 is Sydney. So, I reckon they should take Dylan Stevens. They're probably going to look at an on-baller. That's why I think Robertson's a chance. They're not bidding on Green. So I reckon it's Flanders or Stevens. I'll probably say Flanders because that's what the bloody what do you call it? All the Phantoms are saying. Yeah, Lockie Young was last year. Thanks, David. I think people are getting confused about the Lucky Young and Lucky Ash. I don't know if I misspoke, but yeah, I'm kind of talking about both at the same time. Aiden, it has actually started, man. I'm just aware that on my screen it does say awaiting selection for all of them. So blame the browser. It did that with the footy, like when we did live streams as well. The score would be like 10 minutes behind. It's a bit ridiculous that it doesn't even have Matt Real up there yet, but let me have a look on the actual website. Let me see if I can do anything about this. It's coming up on my screen here. I don't know. It's coming up on my screen, but in the preview on actual YouTube. Oh, there we go. It's just fixed it. I don't know if that was because of what I did or not. I don't know. Didn't actually do anything. Would have loved to have Lucky Ash at Collingwood. Yeah, I think literally any club would have taken Ash. He's just such a damaging player. Like they could sort of mold him into either a defender or a midfielder. You could see him as a half forward. Really valuable player to have. He's one of my favourites. Yeah, picks have gone up. Thanks, fellas and girls. I suspect... I don't know. It seemed to do something when I changed tabs. I don't know why. All right, Sydney's pick is in, and this is a real interesting pick for me. I think it should be Stevens, but I don't think they will take him. A trade's happening. That'll be... So someone... Probably not. Dylan Stevens, he goes. Oh, I said it like 6 times. I had a feeling that was going to happen. But I did say Flanders probably because that's who the mocks picked. But I think that's a great call for Sydney. I think he's one of the underrated players in this draft. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, thank God that happened. I was holding that sneeze in for so long. Jack Besnard coming up with the goods in the chat. Fishing and Footy says hi, welcome. Can anyone tell me how late the lag is on this? Like, because I'm usually saying when a pick gets locked in, I'm kind of saying it. So you're probably getting a vibe for how delayed the stream is. Just curious. Western Bulldog AFL says hi, Jesse. Hello, mate. Welcome. Tom Green, where does he get picked? Well, yeah, jeez, this is tough. Adelaide should bid on him, in my opinion. But that being said, they're probably going to trade this pick. If you believe the rumours. Surely Fremantle will bid on him. They're the next team, right? After Adelaide? Oh no, Carlton. Oh no, sorry, no, it is Fremantle next. So surely Fremantle will bid on him. How do you rank the Suns picks, says Yeezy. I mean, they're pretty close to the best two talents. Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. I think it's a case of Anderson's probably closer to the pack than Rao, but the whole best friend factor does weigh into it. Now, if Gold Coast really needed a ruck, then you make a strong case for Jackson going pick 2. I'm still a big Stevens fan. Maybe pick 2 is probably a bit high for him. Lockie Ash probably not the worst shout for pick 2, but it sounds like they locked in and they were going to pick both those kids. But either way, I think they'll both be good players. So. What up, says J Jet Dakota Little. I'm good, thank you. How are you? I'm starting to feel a little under the weather. I can't tell if it's because of my cat or not. I'm allergic to my cat. Damien says, who do you go for? I'm an Eagles fan, so tonight's pretty relaxing. Don't really have anything to get too worked up over, but I do enjoy the draft generally. So tomorrow night will be a bit more interesting. I'm hoping we trade maybe a future third to get another pick early. Not early, sorry. A future third to get into the third round of this draft would be all right. But we'll see how we go. All right, so Adelaide's officially on the clock now. They've got a minute 30 remaining. It doesn't look like they're doing a trade, but it's possible that they've already done the trade and it just hasn't popped up on the screen. 100 concurrent viewers. Thank you, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It's fun to watch the stream with you. Sorry, to watch the draft with you. As I said before, Busher has betrayed me and gone to Bali today, so that's why he couldn't be here. Joycey's got work, so it's good to have some company. Do I think the Suns could win the flag in the next 10 years? Well, talent-wise, in the sense, like, the way their talent could project in the next 10 years, in theory, yes, but I wouldn't bet on it. They would need a massive turnaround, and I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'd bet money on saying no. But then again, you'd bet on a lot of teams not winning a flag in the next 10 years. How happy were you when the Eagles won the granny in 2018? I was absolutely stoked. I was literally bawling with joy when Dom Sheik kicked that goal. There's actually a vlog on the channel at the risk of just pumping up my own content. But you can see it. My brain just goes to mush, absolutely. Adelaide have 10 seconds left on this pick. That is strange. They don't lose the pick. Yeah, they do lose the pick if it's timed out, surely. No, pick is in. They locked in with like 5 seconds to go. I think they might have been waiting for a trade offer. That's might have what... Yes, so Adelaide are taking Marcus. So I suspect what's happened there is they waited until 3 seconds to go, waiting for Carlton to call them, and they didn't. Because obviously, Adelaide would probably get Maxi either way. That's interesting. So that's another one we all kind of saw coming. It's been talked about a lot lately. Good player. Adelaide need a regeneration of talent. Pretty much all over the ground. Sandy says, where do you reckon the Eagles will finish next year? Well, I'm hoping for top 2 again. I think we're capable of top 2. I think Richmond and West Coast are the best 2 on... Not necessarily on paper, but they're just the 2 teams I would rank first and second at the moment, which is probably disrespectful to... Actually, not really. I was going to say GWS and Collingwood, but not really. GWS kind of proved themselves like not really worthy of being considered a top 2 team, in my opinion. Weren't good enough over the home away season to lock in a top 4 spot, and 3 good finals doesn't make up for that too much. But then there's Geelong as well. I think the Eagles played some good teams away this year, and that hurt them. I won't blame the fixture. That's not what I'm saying, but we obviously lost to a lot of top 4 teams in 2019, but we played them all away except for Collingwood. So I don't know. I think with the fixture a little bit different this year, it'll be interesting to see how those top teams go against each other. And I'll back my boys in. I think they're a good chance to come top 2 again. Coleman medalist, Esava Radaglia 2020. I doubt it, but he's a good talent. Geelong will be very happy with him. Geelong, I think, will be around the mark for top 6. They're still too good to finish too much lower, really. It's always easy to try and underrate older teams, but they've still got some of the best players in the league, including Paddy Dangerfield. So, what I think of the grand final this year was terrible. So I'm just going to point that up so you can see my face. Hated it. We did a live stream, which was really fun, but that kind of just redeemed it from what was otherwise a really shite game. Can't imagine too many people other than Richmond fans would disagree with that assessment either. 108 concurrent viewers. Awesome. 109. Thank you. Get another note about this video resolution. Is there anything I can do about that? I don't know how to fix it. One day I will get the resolution better. Oh, Hayden Young joins Fremantle. I missed that. Big hugs from Mum. Big hug to Dad. Yeah, she looks pretty happy to go to Fremantle. That's a bit of a surprise. Good on him, though. He does look genuinely happy. There's a lot of kids that get picked up to go interstate and they look like they're at a funeral. This is a great pick for Freo. I know they're not light on for defenders. I like Justin Longmuir. They're not light on for defenders. They've got a strong backline. But I think Hayden Young's just a sort of backline general that every team needs. I think he will add just an extra dimension to their defence. With him, Ryan, and Wilson coming out of the back half, even in year one, I think Young could be a seriously good addition. So I think they'll be very happy with that. Lachlan, I'm all for a Tassie team. Absolutely. Are you from Tasmania, Lachlan? I think they'll need to bring in 2 teams at once, though. None of this buy shit. Yeah, Lionel Scott. Yeah, it was a shot grand final, but I'm sure you didn't care. I wouldn't care. I thought the Eagles Melbourne prelim in 2018 was one of the happiest days of my life, and obviously everyone thought it was a shit game, but who cares, right? Oh yeah, Flanders is still on the board. Good pickup, Corey. I wonder if he'll join Fremantle here. Actually, I think he's a good pickup for Fremantle, considering Stevens is gone. Actually, I think Fremantle will pull the trigger on Flanders here. The other chance, I think, is Sarong. I don't think they'll take Robertson, nor do I think they should. I think he's a bit too similar to their current midfield options. They're young ones, anyway. Corey asked, where do I think the Saints will finish next year? I actually think... I think they'll finish about 10th or 11th, to be honest. I think they'll improve on the basis of their... obviously, they're adding Brad Hill, but they were obviously one of the most injury-hit teams this year. So, yeah, I think they're a good chance to improve just on the back of that, to be honest. I'm hiding back a sneeze here. That's why I'm really struggling. Will the Blues get Robertson? They could do. I don't think they need him. So I don't think they should if I were them. They may still bid on Liam Henry. Or they'll go Flanders. So they might go Flanders if Fremantle go Sarong here, in my opinion. Damien reckons the Cats will win the flag. I can see it. Richmond Geelong in that prelim was pretty much the grand final we were hoping for, wasn't it? Like, those were probably the 2 teams that should have played in the grand final. People said it was Richmond and West Coast. Obviously, we got Richmond GWS. But ultimately, Geelong finished first and were one of the absolute best teams that probably were deserving of going through the grand final. Thor asked, can you see a Collingwood West Coast grand final next year? Yes, I could see that. I think both teams will be thereabouts, but it's hard to discount Richmond. I can't imagine Richmond not being up there. I don't know. They're just such a good team. Such a good system. They've proven that they can win flags despite having decimated injuries. I mean, they were pretty crap when those injuries hit, but the way they came back from it, they just played to a standard no one else played to this year. So, there you go. Charlie says Liam Henry won't go top 10. Yeah, so it all comes down to that Carlton pick. Carlton are pretty much the only team, I think, realistically, who will bid on him. So Fremantle took a long time to take that pick. So they must be choosing between Sarong and Flanders, in my opinion. Just a guess, but here we go. Caleb Sarong. Nice. Good pickup. I'm a fan of Sarong there. In general, I think he's a good player. And I think between him and Flanders, they were both kind of the players I think Fremantle needed in their midfield mix. Someone who could actually rotate forward. And I know he's small, but very talented player. He's 88 kilos, which is crazy. He's a real thick boy with 2 C's. No homo. Any Fremantle fans watching, what are your thoughts on the mix of Sarong and Young? Well, actually, any supporters, I haven't really heard too much from supporters in the chat of teams that have actually taken picks so far. How are you feeling if you're a Sydney fan, for instance? I think Stephen's a great pickup. I think Fremantle should be very happy with their picks. Carlton is a very interesting pick here. Caleb Sarong plays like Tim Kelly, according to this. That's strange. I wonder what that's based on. John says, really happy with Young but wanted Flanders. Yeah, okay. I would probably rather take Young, but I understand why you wanted Flanders. He's a pretty exciting player. Who will the Dogs take with their first pick? I'm still thinking Waitman. It's very hard to see who's going to be available. Maybe Flanders is available. Probably not. This is where the draft really gets interesting for me, these picks. The real genuine unknowns. We've got a Danger Dusty debate going on in the chat. I don't know. I think Danger. Let's see here. Cool. So everything is still working good. Hayden Young has the best kick in this year's draft pool, says Charlie 8. Yes, 100%. Which I think is why he's such a... Carlton have bid on Liam Henry. There you go. I thought that might happen. Yeah, so I think players like Hayden Young are becoming increasingly important. That's why you see him go fairly early in the draft. Obviously, pick 7, I think, officially. Even though, yeah, like we said, Fremantle are not short on general defenders. He could be such an attacking sort of weapon out of the back half, and I think that is why they'll be very happy with him. 131 concurrent viewers. Thank you, guys. I think that's the most... it's the most we've had other than the Brownlow. The Brownlow, I think, had 200, so get 80 friends. Okay, so Fremantle really don't have to give up much to bid here. They have to give up 4 picks in the 3rd and 4th rounds, and I generally think they've probably done their picks anyway. I actually don't know how many list spots they have. They might go 3 picks here, and then use like pick 85 to book a mature age player. I don't know. Stiff Biscuit says, who do you think is the best player in the league right now? I said Danger right before Fife won the Brownlow, and then I probably looked a bit silly, but I think I'm going to have to stay with it. I think he's the most devastating, but he's only slightly ahead, in my opinion, because obviously Fife is a ridiculous player. Bid pending. Are they still thinking about it? Surely they've prepared for this eventuality. Carlton were clearly going to bid on him. Well, that's bullshit. But I mean, Carlton were clearly the most likely team to bid on him. So surely they've planned. They know exactly what points they need to give up. Why is this taking so long? Oh, actually, no, I'd rather have pick 49. Who's the best forward this year? Asks Jay. The year gone was certainly Cameron. I was going to say, actually, I meant Jeremy, but Charlie Cameron was pretty close too. Going into next year, probably still out of Cameron and Brown. They're both at that right age where they're just at the start of their peak. They're born in 93 and 92, so that makes them 26 and 7. Hard to see him not being up there. And, yeah, what's his name? Tom Lynch as well, similar age, 27. Those are probably the three best players, key forwards in the league going forward, in my opinion. Okay, Fremantle's bid's pending. And they've done a trade for a smattering of late picks. That's really weird. So Fremantle have done a deal here. So Fremantle is accumulating a bit more points. They've given up next year's second rounder. They must be hiding that pick and they must get it back. I don't know. This is all very cerebral. It goes over my head. I don't even know. I'd like to just have it explained to me. At the end of it. Because last year what happened was Sydney had a bid on a player or an academy player and they traded like a ridiculous trade with West Coast way in the Eagles' favour. They gave away like a second rounder for free. And then after the bid came, they gave the second rounder back with a little bit extra. So a little bit of collusion. What's the deal here? Surely Fremantle have matched it. Yeah. There you go. So Henry is officially a docker. I don't think there was too much surprise about that. I would have been shocked actually if they didn't match that. I'm going to sneeze. Nah, I'm good. Am I? I don't know. Oh my god. It's like a little sideshow. Is he going to sneeze? 151 concurrent viewers. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Josh Green, number 1 pick, True Footy. Yeah, maybe. I have no idea who that is. Dusty is a better kicker one-on-one than Danger, says Fishing Footy. Better one-on-one than Danger? I don't know. Danger's pretty strong. Oh, they're both such beasts. He's certainly a better kick. That's no doubt about that. I agree with that. I'm not going to read that comment out. That's funny. Alright, so Carlton now have picked 10. Surely it's Flanders. Lockie says it'll be interesting to see how Rowell and Anderson help Gold Coast. Yeah, it will be interesting. I don't think they're going to do too much too early. Maybe I could see Rowell performing well early. I think Anderson will take a bit more time just because he's a bit bigger. Takes a little bit longer to sort of, when you're an inside mid, get used to that role at the AFL level. But I think Rowell could probably impact more as like an outside player straight away. Ooh, Liam Henry's quite blonde. I didn't realise that. Maybe I'm just really not observant. Nixon Strange says, do you think clubs are going for needs and not best available because the first round talent isn't as good? That's an interesting question because I would have thought if the talent is not that good, you're more likely to go for best available because you're more likely to get a dud. Whereas if your first round has got heaps of strong, safe talent, that's when I would probably look more at need. Ryland Thomas says, I reckon Sarong will be tick 10. I'm not sure if you're having a joke or not. He's actually, I'm not being silly either, but I think Sarong was actually pick 8. Just in case you missed that. Davey reckons Gold Coast is high as 16th next year. So who's 17th and 18th? Because I pick it at Carlton. That would be a massive bolt, wouldn't it? Wet Nuggets. I don't want to know how you got that name. You're walking around in water waist deep. Good player, young Liam Henry. It's easy for the academy talents to sort of get glossed over a little bit because everyone knows where they're going. Not as interesting, but I think he'll play. I think all of those three players that Fremantle pick could play 20 games next year. It's particularly because they're all kind of not outside, kind of outside leaning, and I certainly think they'll play that way in their first year. What's the best outcome for Melbourne? Well, yeah, I don't know. It looks like sounds like they're going to take Isaiah Pickett. Is he best available? I don't know. Tom Green finally gets bid on. I totally forgot about Green. Helly Lenny. Hacko. There you go. Interesting bid from Carlton. Not really the sort of team who need a big body midfielder. But I guess he's clearly best available, so someone's got a bid on Green. Keep GWS honest. Man, it's so bullshit. Good GWS give away like 4 fourth rounders or like a third rounder and 3 fourth rounders. Like, it's too much of a discount. Oh, there's no chance GWS don't match this bid, yeah. Jeremy's really running with this Josh Green thing. DeConning or Tom Green? Definitely Tom Green, I would have thought. Yeah, so Tom Green is officially a Giant. No surprise at all. Just going to check the old battery on this thing. Seems to be alright. Sweet. Can you shout me out? Ching Chong Ping Pong. I feel a little racist saying that out loud, but that is your username, so don't blame me. What do you reckon Carl Finlay will be picked? That's a good question. 30s or 40s, it seems. He's around that range. I wouldn't mind the Eagles having a look. He's a key back, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least a tall defender. So Flanders is out of the top 10. Officially not picked. Not a huge surprise. So I think he will fall here though. Hello, Knight Swaka. I don't know how to say that. I'm scared of reading out these names in case there's a swear word embedded in someone's username. Mind you, I've sworn that many times on this channel. Cardman, welcome. Not a lot, mate. We're just tuning into the draft. I think I'm fighting off a little bit of a cold, but good to see you here, mate. Thanks for joining. Bo Bundy says, g'day from Bundaberg, now in Geelong, waiting on Hawks' first pick. Yes, I'm looking forward to those picks. These picks have dragged on these last few. Or at least it's felt that way. Western Bulldogs AFL says, go Dogs. Who do you go for? How do you think GWS will go next season, says Seth Rev? Yeah, great question. I think they'll be around the mark for top 4 again, which is a bit of a cop-out answer. I would say on talent, they're just about the most talented list, but haven't really quite put it together yet, even in the grand final. I'm sorry, even in the finals. They were pretty good. They ground out results, but they weren't really like as devastating as we know they can be, like in terms of their talent. There's a lot of stats that suggest if you lose final by a long, is it the grand final? Or I think if you lose any final by like 7 goals, you don't win a final next year. Some weird stat like that, which doesn't bode particularly well for them. Now it's just a stat, so it doesn't mean a lot. I think they'll win a final next year, but I don't think they'll play in the grand final. But yeah, my prediction is not worth a whole lot. Cardman says, I'll be waiting a long time for the Saints' first pick. The same goes for the Eagles. Yeah, you're right. I think the Saints are the only team to enter the draft later than the Eagles, so there you go. We'll be here tomorrow night for the draft as well. And I'll be eagerly awaiting that pick 46. Oh, my stream's paused. Oh, that's back. Cool. Do I know who Isaiah Dudley is? Not off the top of my head. Do I think Freo should have picked up Flanders or Robertson? I don't think so, no. You can make a case for Flanders over Sarong. I preferred Sarong, probably. I think Hayden Young's a great pick. I don't think Robinson was the right pick for them, to be honest. I want to see Stuart Juju, Jenny Craig commercials. I actually laugh more at your username. I'm 26, but you wouldn't think it because I'm a little bit silly with my sense of humour. Now, I'm just noticing Carlton's into their final minute with their pick. Seriously, they've had all that time for GWS to match a bid. They should know who they're picking with this pick. They do not need this time. They must be instructed to wait out. That's probably what it is. They're instructed to wait the whole allotted time so that you can get this interview time in. Because there's no way Carlton don't know who they're picking. Who's better, Rowell or Anderson? You go Rowell right now, certainly. Anderson's got that big body, which makes him, at least seem like he's got a good chance to, like that high upside, real top-end midfielder. They're usually a bigger body, aren't they? But I'd probably say Rowell. What does the A mean in the last 2 picks? Academy. That's what that means. Oh, live trade. All right, I stand. That's fair play to Carlton. They were at least trading. I was going to say, holy shit. So Gold Coast now have pick 11. 11 basically for 17 and 22. And 62 back. Interesting. So Carlton now have 17 and 22. All right. That was a big sneeze. Oh, I'm definitely sick. But that's cool. Wow. So, Flanders joins Gold Coast. I bet he didn't expect that at the start of the day. Good bit of business from Carlton. They obviously rate the talent pools fairly even around this range, which is probably a fair assessment. Wonder why Gold Coast really wanted Flanders. That sounded a bit disrespectful to Flanders. Yeah, I guess that's just how they rate it. They don't mind trading up, do they, Gold Coast? They did it last year. They traded up. They gave away 2 second-rounders to get McLennan, a guy they really wanted. So they probably rate Flanders, obviously, on talent, but maybe they have a good feeling about retaining him as well. Vic Country, too, if I'm not mistaken. Do I know who Will Gould is? Yes, I do. I think he's a good player. I think he'll go in the second round. So I doubt he gets picked up tonight. What can you watch it on, AFL King? I think if you just go to the AFL website, you should be able to find it. But I am watching it on KO. Gold Coast have done well, you're right, Charlie. There's a great call. Charlie, is your brother in here as well? Saying dirty stuff in the chat? I recognise the surname. Yeah, but Flanders, Anderson and Rao. It's a very strong haul for Gold Coast here. Really good, exciting young crop of players to take the club forward. Hopefully, I want to see Gold Coast do well. I'm not one of those players people who wants them to fail. There are definitely a lot of people out there who want them to fail. Damien's asking where Essendon's going to finish. Honestly, don't know. Probably around... It's such a cop-out answer. I'm going to sit down and do my proper prediction soon, but I don't think I'm going to have them jump up the ladder at all. I think I see them more likely to miss the 8 than make the 8. Sorry, more likely to miss the 8 than bump up and make the top 6. I could see them 7th or 8th again. What do you reckon Brody Kemp will get picked at? I reckon he will go in the next 7 picks. He could make it to Carlton probably at 17. Now Carlton have picked 17. But he could go as early as Hawthorn in a couple of picks' time. Geelong's another candidate for another mid. Luke Jackson, Rising Star, says AFL Vlogs. Big call, considering they don't really award it too often to key position, particularly Ruckman. But not beyond the realms of possibility. Is he going to play enough games, though, to get the Rising Star? That's my question. I'd probably say no. Or at least not in the ruck. Because Zaya surely for 12 says Mac. Yeah, you're probably right, to be honest. That's where all the mail's going. Do you think Jared Pickett will help the Eagles? I think the Eagles are exactly the right club to turn Jared Pickett into a gun. I could see him slotting into that Rioli role. I think he's so talented. I know it's only highlights from his under-18s, but if you look at those, look at the way he moves with traffic. He's so talented. Obviously, he's had about 5 years of being a spud at Carlton, GWS, to overcome, but sometimes players just need to be a bit older. Get him in the right system. I'm very bullish about Pickett. Where will Gold Coast play Flanders since they have a fairly stacked midfield? I think they'll rotate him through the flank. It's a good question though, Charlie. But I think they'll play him predominantly as a forward to start. Whoa! A little extra name there in Pickett's name. Little double-barreled surname, eh? Cropineri Pickett. Whoa. Cropping your ass, am I right? Ranked 26 by Fox Sports. Interesting. I'm struggling here. I'm actually very sick. I'm not answering that, Zach. Is it Keenan Barnard or Kynan Barnard? But good question. I think Devon Robertson will go to Geelong. Or he could go Hawthorn here. I think those are the two teams that should pick best available midfielder. Phoebe's asking, how do I feel about the doggies? I love the doggies. I really like them. I think it's just because they have a lovely blue jumper like the Eagles. And their 2016 flag was awesome. One of my favourite grand finals. Do you think there's any chance Melbourne could jump into the 8 next season? Certainly. I think they've proven they're good enough. It's just about preparation and mindset next year. Not talent. Keziah Pickett with the crunch. Jason says, sicky tomorrow. Yeah, I'm actually not working tomorrow already, thankfully. I've got an RDO. But I would call in sick probably if I didn't have an RDO. So, yeah, good call. Sam De Conning or Brody Kemp would pick 13. Sam De Conning would be interesting. It's a reach, but Hawthorn probably do need a key defender. But I do think Hawthorn are the sort of team who will pick best available and whoever they think that is. So I'm thinking Robertson, I'm thinking Kemp, and I have to agree. De Conning is a pretty good nomination by you. Josh Worrell's another one who's probably the next key defender around the mark. But He looks small, Pickett, but I'm already looking at him thinking I wouldn't want to get hit by him. Maybe because his surname's Pickett, like Byron is it his uncle. He's not a bloke you want to get hit by. Who do I think will go to the Dogs? I'm still thinking Waitman's probably the best available of the players linked to him. I don't think they'll go for like a Kemp or a Robertson. I don't think they need midfielders like that. What do you think Brody Kemp would have been picked without his injury? That's really hard to tell. Probably in the top 8. Miles Bergman's a really interesting one, actually. He's one that's bolted a lot. We're approaching his range, Bergman. I reckon he could go to Port. Geelong's probably a shout with this second pick. I think I think Geelong should take best available, maybe Robertson first. Hawthorn's pick is in. Oh, Hawthorn bolted and picked Will Day. Who was it, Toomey, that said that? Toomey linked Day to him. Yeah, see, that's awesome. He's a player I'm sure Port were looking at with the very next pick. I wouldn't be surprised if that throws out their plan. But now they could go Waitman here, Port. Who else is on the board? They could go Kemp. They could go Robertson. Probably don't need a Robertson as much, to be honest. Will Gould. I think he could go to... I could see him ending up at Queensland in the 20s. Lockie says, thoughts on Elijah Taylor? Yeah, seems like a pretty talented player. But it might be a case of like his commitment at the next level, I think, is what might see him slide. I think maybe a few have wondered about homesickness as well. So he might go later than his talent suggests. So I had him, I think, in the 40s to Richmond or something like that. I think he's probably going to get looked at by a team that's got really good sort of like Indigenous welfare at their club. So Richmond or a West Coast or Fremantle come to mind. They're not the only clubs with good Indigenous welfare, but I think that will be a big factor, to be honest. When is Geelong's first pick? It must be like 1 or 2 away. Let me see if I can update this. I certainly can. Bear with me while I scroll this bad boy down too. Okay. There we go. That'll do. So, yeah, there you go. You got Port and you got the Bulldogs and then Geelong. So, Port's pick is in. Miles Bergman, yes, there's a few linking him to Port specifically. Pretty talented midfield forward option. Sort of add as a little rosy sidekick next year. Interesting, I don't think there's a real need for him, so it must be just pure talent. No one really picks a mid forward on need, do they? It's always talent. Who on earth is Will Day? He's a halfback from South Australia, outside mid, and he's the cousin of Gold Coast Sam Day. What team do you reckon will land Charlie Comben? Good question. He's probably going to go in the 30s or 40s, potentially 20s. I don't know. He could bolt. It's going to be a team that needs a ruck forward. So, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think who that is. Adelaide, I would have said probably, but They did just trade for that Billy Frampton kid. But is he good enough to sort of mean they don't need a draft one? Maybe. I don't know. The Eagles could probably go for a ruck forward. I don't think they should, but they might. How have the Giants done in this draft already? They've done extremely well. Max Gallagher, Lockie Ash and Tom Green are two very good players. It's ridiculous how a grand finals team can do that. Whose pick is it now originally? Why did GWS have pick 6? Somebody remind me. Who did they trade? They traded Shield, but surely it wasn't him. Nah, that's not Essendon's pick. Who did Eagles trade away this year? They didn't trade anyone away. They just traded in Kelly for picks. Dev Robertson to Geelong asks Heath. I think that's a good shout, to be honest. I think that's where I think they should pick him. Official Tiggy says, first real experience of this. It's exciting and also a little crazy. Carlton made it weird. They did make it weird. Nah, they just took a long time to do it. They did a pretty good deal, and I'm interested to see what picks they take now. Bulldogs, 2 minutes on the clock. I'm thinking Waitman. Trade with Adelaide for pick 4. Yeah, you're right, Charlie, but why did they have pick 6 originally? That's what's confused me. Was the Saints pick? That's right, and it was at 12 and 18. Thank you, Dave. I just had my brain just. It's because I'm getting sick. My brain just like glazed over. Yeah, they traded 6 for 12 and 18. That's right. Very savvy trading from them. They've got Ash and Green to add to that grand final team. That's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I'm thinking Waitman. Bulldogs pick is in. There you go. Worst kept secret, that one. I don't know why we just inexplicably knew who they were taking. This is actually a fairly predictable first 15, I got to say. No real surprises. Even Will Day was probably the biggest bolt. But even then, like I think it was at Toomey or someone linked Will Day to Hawthorn like 2 days ago. So they're pretty good. They're pretty switched on here. So Geelong, best available pick, in my opinion. That's probably Devon Robinson at this rate. And then Brody Kemp around the mark 2. This Waitman kid is pretty talented. I'm pretty confident he will. I can see him doing pretty well in the Rising Star in the first year. Not like extremely well, but like Brian Myers level of relevance. Do I know who Andrew Phillips is, and if yes, is he any good? Are you referring to the Carlton Ruckman that got traded to Essendon? I don't think he's that good, to be honest with you. But just haven't seen him play that much, to be honest. But nah, he's not that good. How's Brody Kemp not picked? Yeah, well, this is in the late male phantoms. He was going around this range. I think Robertson now. So that means I think Kemp could end up at Carlton. Is it next? It is next. Alternatively, Geelong now could pick Worrell because I think Worrell have been linked to Port. They could probably take Robertson and then just take whichever of DeConning and Worrell Port don't take if they want a key back. Ooh, Dave doing some moderation. Thank you, mate. You're a good man. Official Tiggy reckons he has a Geelong fan friend that wants a ruckman. Don't think there's too many rucks around this range. Charlie Comben, what was that guy? Nick Bryan and Callum Jamieson. Probably the next three I can list, unless I'm forgetting someone. A minute 50 remaining on Geelong's pick. I'm really interested in this one. Lockie asks, when's West Coast first pick? It's not until pick 46, so we won't be tonight, Lockie. We'll be tomorrow. I think tomorrow will move a lot faster than this as well. For sure. How good's Tom Cutler from Brisbane? Not amazing, but I think he's a good player. I think he's worth picking up from Essendon. For Essendon. I think that was an astute pickup. Very predictable draft so far, says John. I agree. It has been. I was just thinking that. Cooper Stevens, Geelong. That is a reach. Taken above Devon Robertson. So this is what I mean when I say they're divisive about Robertson here. Dave says Essendon needs a prospect key forward or a big-bodied inside mid. Yeah, I don't know which big-bodied inside mids are around that range off the top of my head. Darcy Churgwin, I think, is a big-bodied inside mid, but I think he's like... That would be a bit of a reach. But then there's Harry Jones, but I don't think he's going to be available at Essendon's pick. Saints' first pick is not until 51, I think. It's probably moved around at some point. I think Carlton go Kemp here. Brody Kemp for sure. Shout me out, says Ching Chong Ping Pong. I did shout you out before, by the way. If we don't get Brody Kemp, I will break my iPad, says CDB. I don't recommend that. Hey, Hamish. Welcome, mate. We've missed you. Thanks for tuning in. That's all right. I'm streaming again tomorrow, mate. So, just a heads up. No excuses for being late. No, I'm just kidding. Do we know officially how many picks are being taken tonight? Did they actually clarify that? Is Carlton the last pick there? Because on the screen that says that, but... Or do they end at Richmond at 21? Why not CDB? I just think you will miss your iPad if you get smashed. Okay, so who's on the board? You got Kemp, Robertson, Worrell, Gould, McGuinness, Rivers, Sharp, Marnie, Stevens. It's got Stevens still on the board there, but that's a mistake. Jackson Mead. So that's all their highest ranked players. Interesting. Carlton's pick is in. This will be interesting. Surely Brody Kemp. Or Robertson. Yeah, there you go. Carlton to Kemp. Worst kept secret. No, they were linked to him even at pick 9, so... Yeah, it makes sense they would take him in when they traded down. Surely it's the Tigers pick, Dave. I would agree with that, but for whatever reason on the screen there, it's got Carlton as the last pick, and I think that is meant to be the first round that I've loaded there. Which would be... Is it Gold Coast's pick originally? Is that an extra pick they've gotten? Because that might technically also be in the first round. So I don't know. Bless me. Yes, there is another DeConning at Carlton, Ching Chong. Is it Tom or Sam? Which one? Oh, which one's getting drafted this year? I think Tom's this draft and Sam is... Oh, I'm getting mixed up now. But yeah, it's his brother. I think Tom's the one at Carlton. I'm so tired. Yes, CDB, you get to keep your iPad. Good on you. Champman says, I'm a tip Dylan Stevens or Kemp for Rising Star. I like the Stevens pick. I'm going to say Stevens or Ash or Rao. I think Stevens will excel as a real fast, skillful outside mid, and I think those players do well early. Port Adelaide are on the clock now. I'm thinking Worrell. Yeah, so Brody Kemp is now being interviewed saying he reckons he's a midfielder. He's a huge midfielder. Be interesting. He's going to be taking under the wing of Pat Cripps there. Quite similar players. I don't think he'll get a game straight away, to be honest. What pick do you think my mate Mitch Georgiades will get picked? Namjeff. I think his brother commented on one of my videos the other day. I think he's hoping Collingwood. I think Geelong might... Oh, I've read that Geelong might pull the trigger in the 20s. So sometime earlier tomorrow. But other than that, I don't see him going later than Collingwood. I believe they're interested. Who's the best player at West Coast? Elliot Yeo, I would say. I think he's overtaken McGovern and Kennedy. McGovern's probably the next best shout. Kennedy's obviously pretty close to retiring. I think Yeo's a superstar. Stiff Biscuit says, who do you reckon's got the longest schlong of the draft? I'd say Luke Jackson or Will Gould. Yeah, I can see why you're saying that, to be honest. Maybe Keziah Pickett. Port Adelaide's pick is in. Oh, Georgiades! The player we just mentioned. That's hilarious. That's a real reach. I like it. Not when I say reach, I don't mean disrespectful. I guess bolter is what I mean. He's just he seems like a real favourite for a lot of recruiters. Interesting. That'd be good. Is he his true key forward? I've thought he was more like a Gunston style lead up forward, but I could be wrong on that. Hamish says, is this your first draft stream? It is, mate, yeah. Yes, Mitch, no way, says Namjeff. Yeah, that's so funny that you just asked me that and then he gets picked that pick. That is a surprise. I love it. And that is probably stung Geelong. If you believe what I read about Geelong liking him. Will Cam Tahaney get drafted? Yes, I think, Cody, he will, but it sounds like he might go closer to the 30s or 40s. Or he could get picked in the 20s, to be honest. Some people have suggested as early as the 20s, but I've seen recently he might be closer to the 40s. Wouldn't mind the Eagles taking the punt if he's there at 46. I don't think he will be, though. Did this stream start 2 days ago? No, I just scheduled it 2 days ago. Devin Robertson's still on the board, isn't he, for Geelong? Surely they'll take him. Mojo Time says, notice me. Hello. Welcome. Oh, is this another fucking trade? So Port have taken 55 and downgraded 2 bigs. That's really weird. So Carlton... Yeah, Carlton have moved up 2 spots. That's really weird. I can't believe Port did that deal. Rogue Riot says, well, so much for Georgiades going for Collingwood. Who do you think Collingwood will pick now? It sounds like they might want a key forward. Harry Jones will probably be there. Jake Riccardi. Harry Jones will be picked if he's there. I don't know if he will be. Jake Riccardi, I think, is another key forward around the mark as well. Charlie Comben, maybe a chance. Mojo asks, what do I think of the NBA? I don't really watch it, to be honest with you, to give you a shit answer there. I like playing 2K occasionally. Like, I don't own it, but other than that, I don't really get into the league. It changes too much. All the players change too often for me. If Robertson isn't picked, I'll throw my iPad. I don't think you should do that. Don't recommend damaging your possessions. Yeah, really thinking about it here. So it's interesting that Robinson's not. Oh, here we go. Their picks logged in. Sam DeConning. No real surprise there, other than the fact that Robinson's still on the board. Now, it's interesting that Carlton traded for pick 20 here, because they obviously want a specific player, but there was a chance that Geelong was going to pick that player anyway. I'm going to say maybe Robertson here. I've said that for like the last 4 picks, I just realised that, but... Mojo Time says, do I consider myself hot? No, not really. Not right now, I've got a bit of a cold. Ha, am I right? If it's not Worrell, I'll smash my TV. Stop smashing your stuff, guys. Where do you think Will Gold will get drafted to roughly? Yeah, I think in the 20s. So I think sometime tomorrow. In about, sometime in the next 8 picks or so. I'd be surprised if Gould's in the 30s, but we'll never know. Do I own AFL Evolution? I don't, Damien. I bought it and returned it within a week when it came out. But I will buy AFL Evolution 2. I might even do some content on it. What do Carlton need? I don't think they need more midfielders. That's why I don't think Robertson... I don't know if Robertson is the best pick for them, but he's probably the best available. But it's got to be someone they didn't think would be available 2 picks later. So that makes me think it's Worrell or Robertson, but I don't think they need either of them. Mojo says dance for me later. Am I excited for AFL Ever 2? I'm not excited because I've been burned so many times by AFL game makers ever since Big Ant. It's been pretty shite, to be honest. But I will buy it. I'll be looking forward to it. I'll be pleased when it comes out. No dancing, sorry, Mojo. Looks a bit nervous, young Dev. I'm not surprised. You'd hate, from his perspective, he would hate to go into the break not drafted. Like, he would have wanted to be drafted tonight. Jay Rantle, Paddy. Yeah, good question. Good nomination. We're probably entering the start of his range here. Okay, so this is interesting again. Carlton traded up 2 picks and now still haven't decided who they're taking. Does that mean that DeConning was who they wanted? In which case, why did they trade up before Geelong took their pick? Seems strange on the outside. John says Robertson's still not picked. That's correct. He's still on the board. Didn't Silvani... I read that Silvani was gone from Carlton. Is that bullshit? Hey, pick is in. Here we go, Carlton. Sam Philp. They traded up to take Sam Philp. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not hating on Sam Philp, but do they really think Sam Philp wasn't going to be there 2 picks later? That is really interesting. Maybe they wanted to get ahead of Richmond because Richmond were into Philp. Now that I mention it, I think I read they were into Philp. So that's pretty smart, actually. Yeah, so a little bit of a bolter there, but a pretty high talented player. Bit of X factor. I like it. I think that's probably a fairly good pickup. Wouldn't have bet on Philp being taken before Robertson. That is really interesting. Now, Richmond probably will take Robertson. They're a team that probably do need young mids. No, I'd kind of hate Robertson to go there. Do I reckon Jay Rantle will get picked? Yeah, I do. But whether it's the night, I don't know. Is Richmond supposed to be into him as well? That's the other question. Potentially. So it could be Rantle or Robbo for these guys. Can you do AFL Evolution 2 coach career on your own channel? Yeah, I'll probably do it on True Footy, yeah, to be honest. Fallen says, I'm kicking myself over Will Day. No, I think he's a good pick. I would back in Hawthorn's recruitment. Like, if they think he's good enough, I would back that in. They're a good, proven recruitment team. What do I think about Betts going back to Carlton? Yeah, I don't mind it. They were criticised for the thinking of, like, they were going for Papley, they were going for Martin and Betts. They ended up with none of them other than Betts, so... Yeah, I don't know. No, I think it's a good romantic notion. Where do I think Thompson Dow will go? I think he'll go in the 30s, if I had to guess. A little bit less developed than Paddy, who was probably not super developed anyway. Interesting what Richmond have got here with those magnets. They've got each club listed. And then some of those logos, they've got Fremantle's old ass logo there. That's funny. But it's interesting that they're looking at that mix, what teams have got. Probably to have a look at... I think what they're talking about now on the commentary, but they're trying to anticipate who they might be going for and all that to maybe help with trades and stuff. That's smart. Will Port take a punt on Gould? They could. I think they could use a really strong defender there. I don't know if he's necessarily best available. But South Australian boy, I think they could do worse. So who have they picked? They've picked Bergman. And it's going to come across now. That's right, Georgiades and Bergman. So 2 forwards there. So they should go a mid or a defender. So yeah, Gould comes into the mix there. Matt Nolan. G'day, mate. Where do you think Will Day will go? He went pick 12. Richmond having a good think about this. Probably didn't expect to have Robbo on the board there. I wonder if that's who they're considering. But I have said that literally every pick. I wonder if they're considering Robertson. Who is my favourite player of this draft class? Ooh, probably Ash or Dylan Stevens, that is. Guys, we have consistently over 100 viewers this whole live stream, so thank you so much for tuning in. It's been real fun. I'll be back tomorrow as well. These picks take bloody ages. You're not wrong, Ching Chong. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. No, Damien, I'm in Perth, mate. All right, Richmond's here. Thompson Dow. Again, the second time someone mentions someone in the chat and they get taken this pick. I literally just said Dow will go in the 30s. I said Georgiades will go in the 20s, and then went bang, bang. Both players gone. Surely Port Tate Robertson. Shows how it must be his foot skills they're concerned about. I do kind of feel vindicated because Busher tried to laugh at me for saying Robertson could slide to pick 11 in the fucking podcast. And here he is, pick 22, not taken. So much egg on his face. Just kidding, he's in Bali. He probably doesn't give a shit. I do not play Fortnite, zombie. Sorry. I don't have time. Port is tomorrow. Is that right, Dave? That makes sense. That is the end of the draft. There we go. I wonder if someone will go to Port now and trade for that first pick of the day, because that's what happened last year, the first time that happened with the live trades. I think it was West Coast had first pick of the day, and then Gold Coast traded 2 picks in the 20s, or pick in the 20s and the 30s to take the pick, because it's obviously a valuable pick. Got a lot of time to consider trade offers. They'll be happy with that, Port. I wonder if they'd even consider it, but I guess if a team really wants someone like a Robertson or whoever, then they've got plenty of time to come up with a suitable trade offer, which is good. What pick are you going to stream to? No, I think we're all done for now for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, and I'll be here for the whole thing, probably a similar length. So we did an hour and 40 here. That's pretty good. Where will Harry Jones end up? So there's a few clubs looking for key forwards. Collingwood we talked about. I don't think Geelong have picked a key forward yet. Probably don't need one strictly. So yeah, Collingwood, Essendon, and Port. So even Port could take him with the first pick of tomorrow. Assuming they don't get traded. The pick doesn't get traded. That is. Who do you think has the best potential? Or probably Anderson or Rao. Probably Rao, to be honest. I know that's a lame answer, but he's just such a high production, high talent already. I could just see him being like a Walsh and just being really, really good at the next level. I don't think he or Walsh will ever be the best player in the game, but I just feel like there's a low floor there on his talent. Stiff Biscuits is really concerned with schlongs. Fair enough. What time is your live stream starting tomorrow? Same time, guys. So whenever the draft starts, I think it's 7 p.m. Melbourne time, Australian Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Perth time. What is that, 5:30 Adelaide time? I'm not sure. Where will Devon Robertson end up, asks Heath. Honestly, I've been expecting Robertson every pick since about pick 14. I've been like, Robertson. I think Port could take him. Let's have a look who else has a pick around then. So the next pick is Port, and then in the second round, Brisbane could take him. Adelaide will surely have a look at him. They've got 2 picks there, and they need midfielders. Geelong at 26. Honestly, any of the next 6 picks are teams that could probably use a midfielder, including North at 28 and 29. So, yeah. Overall, to sum up, Rowell and Anderson went to the Suns. Jackson joined Melbourne. Ash went to GWS. Pick 4, no surprises there. Dylan Stevens, probably the first semi-surprise of the night. I really, really like that pick for Sydney. I think he's going to be a gun. Maxi for Adelaide. Freo went bang, bang, bang and took 3 plays in a row. Hayden Young, Caleb Sarong, and Liam Henry. 3 guns there. Tom Green bid got matched at 10 for GWS. Flanders got traded for. Gold Coast traded up with Carlton. Keziah Pickett, Will Day, 2 real bolters there. Miles Bergman went to Port. Waitman went to the Bulldogs. Geelong pounced on Stevens really early. That was higher than I expected. Kemp went about the same range as I expected, but I didn't expect Carlton to have that pick because it was a trade. Georgiades was a real bolt at pick 18. I like that one. Sam DeConning, that's the one. Sam DeConning. Pick 19. Geelong were obviously looking for a key back this draft. Then Sam Philp was... Carlton traded up for that one to move up 2 picks to take Philp ahead of Richmond there, which I thought was interesting. Thompson Dow, brother of Paddy, joins Richmond. I thought Dow would be a good chance to join Richmond, but I would have thought it would come around 38, 39, 40, whatever pick they have there. So that is all very interesting, really fun first round, guys. So I'm just going to say thank you so much for tuning in. I'm probably going to shoot off now because I'm so sick. I'm going to have a shower, have a bit of vitamin C, try and rest up for tomorrow's stream. This will be good. Hopefully I'm feeling better tomorrow. And we've consistently had about 100 viewers at a time. It's about 95 right now, but still very, very healthy. So thank you so much for everyone tuning in and joining in with questions and stuff. Before I go, Zena asks, do you know what is happening with Jack Martin in the preseason draft? I can't say I know exactly what's going to happen. So as far as I'm aware, he's named his price and it's up to Carlton to take him in the draft should they want to pay that much. So they'll probably have a look at who they've drafted and stuff like that. My guess is he makes it to Carlton, though. I don't think he'll stay at Gold Coast. Every time you live stream, you're sick, says Hamish. No, it's just the last 2. It was West Coast Geelong's final that I was sick for as well. I wasn't sick when I started the stream. I'm feeling really sick now. I was a little bit sick earlier at work, but I've really, really downgraded since the stream started. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That's a pretty cool photo. All the 6 Gold Coast boys, 3 from last year, 3 from this year. That could be a famous photo. That if they'll turn out to be good. But yeah, thank you AFL Vlogs for saying you hope I get better. Yeah, I hope so too. Thanks, guys. I'm closing up now, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Cheers.